The silence before. Captain Elena Santos stood at the observation deck of the Lunar Defense Station Artemis, her dark eyes fixed on the holographic display that stretched across the reinforced windows. The massive energy signatures that had appeared at the edge of the Kuiper Belt 12 hours ago hadn't moved, but they hadn't disappeared either. If anything, they'd grown stronger. "Any response to our transmissions?" she asked, not turning away from the display. Lieutenant James Chen checked his console for the 1,000th time. "Nothing, Captain. They're receiving our signals. We can tell that much. But they're choosing not to respond." The year was 2157, and humanity had spread throughout the solar system, establishing colonies on Mars, Venus's upper atmosphere, and several of Jupiter's moons. They'd made remarkable progress in quantum computing, fusion technology, and neural interfaces, but they hadn't yet encountered intelligent alien life. Until now. "What do the quantum probability models say?" Elena asked, addressing Dr. Aisha Patel, the station's chief scientist. Aisha pulled up a series of complex calculations on her tablet. "The energy signatures match nothing in our database. They're operating on principles we've never seen before. But one thing's certain. Each signature represents something massive. Capital ship massive. And there are 37 of them." Elena felt a chill run down her spine. Humanity had prepared for first contact, but they'd always imagined it would begin with communication, not silence. The United Earth Defense Force maintained a formidable fleet, but these vessels, if that's what they were, dwarfed anything humans had ever built. The silence was broken by an urgent alert from Chen's station. "Captain, multiple smaller signatures breaking off from the main group. They're accelerating toward the inner solar system." Elena straightened her uniform. "Alert all UEDF vessels. Begin evacuation procedures for outer colony installations, and get me a direct line to Fleet Command." Before Chen could acknowledge the order, every screen on the station flickered. A voice filled the command center, speaking perfect English, but with an unsettling metallic undertone that made it sound like a chorus of thousands speaking in perfect synchronization. "Organic civilization detected. Designation: human. Status: inefficient. Assessment complete. Optimization protocol initiated." The screens cleared to reveal a face, if it could be called that. It was a shifting mass of metallic surfaces, constantly reconfiguring itself like liquid mercury, but maintaining the basic structure of humanoid features. "We are the Meridian Collective. Your biological existence is inefficient and chaotic. We offer optimization through integration. Resistance will only delay the inevitable improvement of your species." Elena felt her hands clench into fists. "This is Captain Elena Santos of the United Earth Defense Force. We do not consent to any form of optimization. Our system is sovereign territory. Withdraw immediately." The face showed no emotion. It couldn't. Consent is irrelevant. Efficiency is paramount. Your technological achievement in neural interfaces and quantum computing shows potential. This potential will be properly utilized once biological inefficiency is removed. Prepare for optimization. The transmission cut off. Seconds later, the smaller signatures that had broken off from the main group accelerated to impossible speeds. "Multiple contacts on intercept course," Chen shouted. "They're not slowing down." Elena's training took over. "Sound general quarters. Launch all defensive squadrons. And get me Fleet Admiral Ramirez. Now." As alarms blared throughout the station, Elena watched the approaching signatures with a mixture of dread and determination. Humanity had fought wars before, against itself, against the harsh realities of space. But this was different. This was a fight for the very essence of what it meant to be human. The Meridian ships emerged from their faster-than-light travel just beyond Mars' orbit. They were beautiful in a terrifying way. Perfect geometric shapes of gleaming metal that seemed to fold in on themselves impossibly. No visible weapons, no visible engines, just mathematical perfection given physical form. All stations, This is Captain Santos. Elena's voice rang clear through the station's communications. We stand at a pivotal moment in human history. An alien force has arrived, not to communicate or cooperate, but to forcibly change what we are. They see our organic nature as a flaw to be corrected. They're about to learn that humanity's greatest strength lies in exactly what they consider our weakness, our beautiful, chaotic, imperfect organic nature. She paused, watching as the first wave of Meridian ships approached Mars' defense perimeter. They think they're superior because they've eliminated uncertainty, because they've replaced the organic with the mechanical. But they've forgotten something crucial. It was chaos that birthed the stars, and imperfection that gave rise to life itself. The first shots were fired near Phobos Station. Meridian vessels released swarms of smaller craft that moved with perfect coordination, like a school of fish or a flock of birds, but with mechanical precision that made them somehow wrong to watch. Show them what humanity can do, Elena ordered as UEDF ships engaged the enemy. Show them that our chaos is creativity, our imperfection is adaptability, and our humanity is not a flaw to be corrected. It's the source of our strength. The battle for Mars had begun, and with it, humanity's fight for the right to remain beautifully, chaotically human. But as Elena watched the first clashes between human and Meridian forces, she couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. Somewhere in the vast database of human history, in the combination of neural interface technology and quantum computing that humanity had developed, there might be an answer to this threat. They just had to survive long enough to find it. Breaking point. The Mars defense perimeter lasted 6 hours. It should have fallen in minutes. Fleet Admiral Isabella Ramirez watched from her command center beneath the Olympus Mons colony as human ingenuity fought against mechanical perfection. The Meridian ships moved with horrifying precision, each action calculated to maximum effect, but human commanders adapted, improvised, found patterns in the seemingly perfect assault. Status of the evacuation. She demanded, eyes fixed on the tactical display showing the battle above. 87% complete, Colonel Marcus Webb reported. But the civilian ships are running out of places to go. The Meridians have cut off most of the routes to Earth. The massive holographic display showed the brutal reality of their situation. Meridian forces had established a blockade between Mars and Earth, their ships forming an ever-tightening net of geometric precision. Yet for every human vessel lost, the defenders extracted a price that defied the Meridians' probability calculations. They're learning, Dr. Victor Rossi, the lead analyst for Tactical AI, observed. Each engagement, their tactics shift slightly. They're adapting their perfect formations to account for human unpredictability. Then we need to be more unpredictable, Ramirez stated. She opened a channel to all remaining UEDF forces in the Mars theater. All commands, this is Fleet Admiral Ramirez. Implement Chaos Protocol Delta. Authorization Sierra 990. Throughout the battlefield, human ships began executing seemingly random maneuvers, their actions guided by a complex algorithm based on quantum uncertainty principles. It wasn't truly random. Nothing ever was. But it was as close to unpredictable as human engineering could achieve. The Meridian response came swiftly. Their ships split into smaller units, each one transforming in mid-flight, geometric shapes flowing like liquid metal to create new configurations. The mechanical voice that had become haunting familiar echoed through all communications channels. Your attempts at introducing uncertainty are noted. Inefficient. Adaptation requires standardization. Surrender to optimization. Ramirez's response was cut short as the entire command center shook. Warning lights flashed as dust rained from the ceiling. They've breached the outer defense line, Webb shouted. Multiple Meridian ground units detected. They're not like anything we've seen before. The security feeds showed them, waves of metallic spheres that rolled through the Martian dust, each one splitting apart to reveal spider-like appendages. They moved with that same terrible precision as their ships, and where they touched Martian infrastructure, The metal itself began to change, geometric patterns spreading like a virus through human construction. They're not destroying the colony, Rossi realized, horror dawning on his face. They're converting it, optimizing it, as they say. What about the civilians still in the outer sectors? Ramirez demanded. The answer came from the security feeds. The Meridian ground units weren't killing the humans they encountered. Instead, they were capturing them, mechanical tendrils inserting themselves into human flesh, leaving behind patches of geometric patterns that spread across skin like metallic tattoos. My God, Webb whispered. They're starting the optimization process. Ramirez slammed her fist on the command console. Launch the blackout protocol. All remaining ships, execute emergency jump protocols. Get our people out of here. Throughout the Martian colonies, electromagnetic pulses rippled outward, temporarily disrupting the Meridian conversion process. In orbit, the remaining human ships executed desperate maneuvers, many sacrificing themselves to create gaps in the Meridian blockade through which civilian vessels could escape. Admiral, Rossi called out, his voice tight with urgency. I'm detecting unusual readings from the converted sections of the colony. The Meridians, they're not just changing the infrastructure, they're creating something. The tactical display zoomed in on the affected areas. The geometric patterns weren't random. They were forming interconnected networks, creating new systems that merged seamlessly with both the colony's technology and the transformed humans. It's a neural network, Rossi continued. But unlike anything we've ever developed, they're not just optimizing individuals, they're creating a collective consciousness. Ramirez felt a cold certainty settle over her. This wasn't just an invasion. It wasn't even just an attempt at forced evolution. The Meridians were trying to expand their collective, to add humanity's potential to their own perfect mechanical unity. Admiral, Webb's voice was barely a whisper. We're receiving reports from the Jupiter colonies. More Meridian ships have arrived. They're beginning the same process there. Ramirez stood straight, her decision made. Send the signal to Earth. Initiate Project NEXUS. We've seen what we're up against now. We know what they're trying to do. She looked at the display showing the spreading geometric patterns, the merging of human and machine into something that was neither. And we know we can't let them succeed. As the command center prepared for emergency evacuation, Ramirez sent one final message to Earth. The Meridians might have perfection on their side, but they had fundamentally misunderstood something about the species they were trying to optimize. Humanity's greatest achievements had never come from perfection. They had come from the drive to overcome imperfection. And somewhere in the deep bunkers beneath Earth's surface, a project was waiting that would prove just how powerful that drive could be. The hidden card. 3 kilometers beneath the Atacama Desert, Dr. Maya Chen watched as 20 years of theoretical work became humanity's last hope for survival. The NEXUS facility sprawled through massive caverns, its quantum processors humming with barely contained power as they merged the impossible, human consciousness, and machine precision. Final diagnostic complete on Integration Pod 1, her assistant, Dr. Tom Harrison, reported. Neural interface is stable. Quantum coherence at 98%. Maya nodded, her attention fixed on the central chamber where the first NEXUS pilot lay suspended in a crystalline pod filled with neural conductive fluid. Captain Sarah O'Reilly had volunteered to be the first, despite knowing the risks. Her consciousness was about to become something entirely new, neither purely human nor artificial, but a synthesis that the Meridians had never imagined possible. Begin the integration sequence, Maya ordered, and pray we got the calculations right. The pod began to glow with an inner light as quantum fields aligned with Sarah's neural patterns. This wasn't the brutal optimization the Meridians forced on their victims. This was a willing partnership between human and machine, guided by the understanding that true advancement came not from eliminating humanity's organic nature, but from embracing it. Neural patterns are stabilizing, Harrison reported. Quantum coherence holding steady. She's doing it. In the pod, Sarah's consciousness expanded. The quantum processors didn't try to impose order on her thoughts. Instead, they amplified them, allowing her mind to exist in multiple states simultaneously, just as the quantum particles that made up the system did. It was consciousness expanded beyond the limits of organic brains, but it remained fundamentally human. The chamber speakers crackled to life with Sarah's voice, but it was different now, deeper, richer, carrying harmonics that normal human vocal cords couldn't produce. Integration successful. I am more, but I am still me. Maya released a breath she hadn't realized she'd been holding. How does it feel, Sarah? Like dreaming while awake. I can see the quantum states, Doctor. I can think in possibilities rather than certainties. It's beautiful. Before Maya could respond, the facility's alert system activated. Admiral Ramirez's voice filled the chamber. Dr. Chen, the Meridians have broken through the Luna defense line. Earth has less than 48 hours. Tell me you have good news. Maya straightened. Integration successful. Admiral, Captain O'Reilly has achieved stable quantum consciousness. The NEXUS ships are ready for their pilots. Good. Because we're about to find out if your theory about mechanical perfection versus quantum uncertainty is correct. Deep within the facility's hangars, 19 vessels waited. They looked almost organic, their hulls composed of crystalline structures that could exist in multiple quantum states simultaneously. Each was designed to be piloted by a human consciousness expanded through quantum integration, capable of making decisions and taking actions that existed in probability clouds rather than linear certainty. Begin integration for all remaining pilots, Maya ordered. Admiral, you should know, there's no going back for them. Once integrated with the quantum systems, their consciousness will never be quite normal again. They all volunteered knowing that. Ramirez replied. They understood that saving humanity might mean becoming something more than human. Over the next 12 hours, 19 more pilots underwent the integration process. Each success proved that humanity had found its own path to advancement, not through the elimination of organic chaos, but through its amplification into quantum possibility. The Meridian ships never saw the NEXUS vessels coming. How could they? Their sensors were designed to detect certainties, to analyze defined states and calculate responses. But the NEXUS ships existed in quantum superposition, their positions and actions probability clouds rather than fixed points. Maya watched through the facility's quantum-linked displays as the first engagement began near the ruins of Luna Base. The Meridian ships moved with their characteristic perfect precision, geometric forms shifting with mathematical beauty. But the NEXUS vessels, they danced. There was no other word for it. Each pilot's consciousness, expanded through quantum integration, guided their ship through possibilities rather than actualities. They were everywhere and nowhere, their weapons striking from angles that existed only as mathematical possibilities until the moment of impact. Impossible, the Meridian collective voice broadcast across all frequencies. Your actions defy probability matrices. You introduce uncertainty into perfection. Sarah's voice responded, carrying those strange new harmonics that spoke of humanity transformed but not lost. You sought to eliminate chaos because you feared it. We learned to embrace it, to expand it to the quantum level. Your perfection is static. Our imperfection is evolution itself. The NEXUS ships moved through space like thoughts given form, each pilot's consciousness guiding their vessel through quantum possibilities that the Meridian's perfect calculations couldn't predict. Where mechanical precision met quantum uncertainty, uncertainty won. Maya felt tears in her eyes as she watched humanity's defenders drive back the first wave of Meridian ships. They had found a way to fight back that didn't sacrifice what made them human. It enhanced it, elevated it to a new level of existence. Doctor, Harrison called out, his voice tight with excitement. We're receiving telemetry from the NEXUS ships. The quantum field effects, they're spreading. Each engagement is creating ripples in space-time itself. Maya understood then. The NEXUS project hadn't just created a weapon, it had created a new way of existing. The union of human consciousness and quantum uncertainty was showing the galaxy that there was a path forward that didn't require the sacrifice of organic creativity for mechanical perfection. The battle for Earth had begun, and humanity was about to demonstrate that true advancement came not from imposing order on chaos, but from teaching chaos to dance. Symphony of Steel. The void between Earth and Luna became a dance floor of impossibilities. 20 NEXUS ships moved like notes in a cosmic symphony, their quantum state holes shimmering with possibility as they engaged the geometrically perfect forms of the Meridian fleet. Space itself seemed to ripple as human consciousness, expanded through quantum integration, rewrote the rules of combat. Admiral Ramirez, watching from the last remaining command center in the Rockies, could barely follow the battle. The tactical displays struggled to represent ships that existed in multiple states simultaneously, their positions and actions represented by probability clouds rather than fixed points. Status report, she demanded, even though traditional military metrics barely applied to what she was witnessing. The Meridians have committed 70% of their remaining fleet, her tactical officer reported. But, sir, I don't even know how to quantify what our ships are doing. It's like they're playing with probability itself. Through the quantum-linked communications, Sarah O'Reilly's transformed voice echoed with harmonics that sent shivers down human spines. We're not just fighting them, Admiral. We're showing them a new way of existing. Every engagement creates ripples in their perfect certainty. The NEXUS ships moved in ways that defied conventional physics. They didn't just evade Meridian weapons. They existed in states where the attacks both hit and missed until the moment of observation collapsed the probability wave. Their own weapons struck from angles that existed only as mathematical possibilities until the moment of impact. But the Meridians were learning, adapting their perfect geometric forms into configurations that could better track quantum probability states. Their mechanical voice broadcasted across all frequencies, now carrying hints of confusion that had never been present before. Your integration of chaos into ordered systems defies optimization protocols. This approach requires analysis. They're trying to understand it. Dr. Chen's voice came through from the NEXUS facility. But they're still approaching it from a perspective of trying to impose order. They don't grasp that the chaos itself is the source of our strength. The battle reached a new intensity as the Meridian ships began attempting to mimic the quantum state fluctuations of the NEXUS vessels. But their attempts were mere mathematical approximations, lacking the intuitive understanding that came from human consciousness expanded into quantum awareness. Now, Sarah broadcast to her fellow NEXUS pilots, execute Symphony Protocol. The 20 NEXUS ships moved in perfect coordination, but it wasn't the rigid precision of the Meridians. It was the organic coordination of a flock of birds, of schools of fish, of human dancers moving to music only they could hear. Their quantum fields began to overlap, creating interference patterns that rippled through space-time itself. What are they doing? Ramirez demanded, watching as her displays became a chaos of quantum probability cascades. They're synchronizing their quantum fields, Dr. Chen explained, her voice filled with wonder. Each pilot's consciousness is linking with the others through quantum entanglement. They're creating a symphony of consciousness. The effect was devastating. Where single NEXUS ships had been able to exist in multiple states, the combined quantum field of 20 synchronized vessels created a probability storm that the Meridians' perfect calculations couldn't process. Their ships began to falter, their geometric perfection disrupted by uncertainty cascading through their systems. Your chaos spreads, the Meridian voice transmitted, now carrying something that sounded almost like fear. It infects perfection with possibility. That's what you never understood, Sarah responded, her voice now carrying the harmonics of all 20 NEXUS pilots, speaking in quantum synchronization. Perfection is stagnation. True advancement comes from the endless dance between order and chaos, between certainty and possibility. We didn't need to be optimized. We needed to embrace our own nature and expand it into new realms of existence. The Meridian ships began to retreat, their perfect formations dissolving as quantum uncertainty infected their systems. But the NEXUS pilots weren't focused on destruction. Each quantum probability cascade they created carried within it a pattern of a new way of existing, neither the rigid perfection of the Meridians nor the limited consciousness of unaugmented humanity. "They're receiving the pattern," Dr. Chen reported excitedly. "The quantum fields are affecting their core programming. They're beginning to understand." Throughout the solar system, the geometric patterns the Meridians had imposed on captured human colonies began to shift. The rigid optimization protocols gave way to something new, a synthesis of mechanical precision and organic creativity, guided by the quantum probability patterns the NEXUS pilots were broadcasting. Admiral Ramirez watched in awe as humanity's defenders transformed from warriors into teachers, using their quantum-expanded consciousness to show their would-be conquerors that true optimization didn't mean the elimination of chaos, but its elevation to new levels of existence. "Signal from the primary Meridian command node," her communications officer reported. "They're requesting dialogue. Not surrender, not victory. Dialogue." Sarah's voice, still carrying the harmonics of quantum consciousness, responded for humanity. "Then let's talk about the real meaning of advancement, about the beauty of existing between certainty and possibility, about teaching perfection how to dance." The Symphony Protocol had done more than win a battle. It had opened a door to a new chapter in the story of consciousness itself, where the boundaries between organic and mechanical, between order and chaos, became steps in an eternal dance of evolution. The war was ending not with the optimization of humanity, but with the liberation of perfection itself. Tomorrow's dawn. 1 year after the Symphony Protocol, the Sol system had become something unprecedented in galactic history. Where Meridian geometric perfection had once threatened to overwrite human chaos, a new harmony emerged. The quantum probability fields generated during the final battle had sparked an evolution that neither side had anticipated. Maya Chen stood in the observation deck of the New Earth Meridian Exchange Center, watching as ships of both civilizations moved through space around her. Some maintained their original forms, the clean lines of human vessels, the geometric precision of Meridian constructs. Others displayed a fascinating blend. Crystalline structures that shifted with organic fluidity, geometric patterns that incorporated controlled chaos. "Still struggling to believe it?" Sarah O'Reilly asked, approaching the window. Her voice still carried those quantum harmonics, but they had softened over time, becoming more musical than alien. The neural patterns visible beneath her skin pulsed with gentle light, marking her as one of the original NEXUS pilots. "Not struggling," Maya replied, "just appreciating the poetry of it all. They came to optimize us, to eliminate what they saw as chaos. Instead, we showed them that chaos itself could be optimized, elevated to quantum levels while maintaining its essential nature." Through the window, they could see one of the transformed Meridian world ships. Its once rigid geometric surface now flowed like liquid crystal, its patterns incorporating the same quantum probability states that had changed everything. Within, former members of the Meridian Collective were learning to exist as individuals within a quantum-connected network, discovering the beauty of unique perspective within unity. "The other organic species are watching us closely," Sarah noted, "especially after what happened in the Centauri system." Maya nodded. Word had spread quickly through the galaxy after a Meridian optimization fleet, operating far from Sol and unaware of the changes, had encountered another organic civilization. But instead of attempting forced optimization, the transformed Meridians had initiated contact, offering to share the synthesis they had learned from humanity. "Administrator Chen, Captain O'Reilly," a voice chimed, one of the transformed Meridian interfaces now capable of expressing subtle emotions through quantum probability shifts in its tonal patterns. "The first graduation ceremony is about to begin." They made their way to the center's main amphitheater. Inside, rows of seats held a mixed audience. Humans with varying degrees of quantum integration, from subtle neural patterns to full NEXUS modifications. Transformed meridians, whose geometric forms now incorporated organic flexibility, and representatives from a dozen other species, come to witness what many were calling the third path. The graduates filed in, the first class of humans and meridians to undergo the new voluntary integration process. Each had chosen their own level of synthesis, ranging from minimal quantum enhancement to full consciousness expansion. Unity through diversity, rather than forced optimization. Admiral Ramirez, now Earth's representative to the newly formed Galactic Exchange Council, took the podium. The neural patterns visible at her temples marked her own acceptance of limited quantum integration, a symbol of the bridge being built between organic and mechanical existence. 1 year ago, she began, we faced what we thought was an existential threat to our very nature as organic beings. The Meridian Collective sought to optimize us by eliminating what they saw as chaos, our creativity, our unpredictability, our individual nature. What no one expected was that this confrontation would lead not to the victory of one philosophy over another, but to the emergence of something entirely new. She gestured to the graduates. Each person here, whether originally human or Meridian, has chosen their own path of integration. Some have embraced deep quantum synthesis, existing partially in probability states like our NEXUS pilots. Others have chosen minimal enhancement, maintaining their original nature while gaining new understanding. All are valid expressions of consciousness evolving. Maya felt tears in her eyes as she watched her theoretical work bear fruit in ways she had never imagined. The NEXUS project had been created as a weapon, a way to fight back against forced optimization. Instead, it had become a key to unlocking new realms of conscious existence. The galaxy is changing, Sarah whispered, her quantum-enhanced senses detecting the ripples of possibility spreading outward from Earth. Other organic species are reaching out, not just to us, but to the transformed meridians. They see that advancement doesn't have to mean the loss of what makes them unique. Through the quantum networks that now linked conscious beings throughout the solar system, Maya could feel the changes spreading. The rigid hierarchy of the Meridian Collective had given way to a quantum democracy of consciousness, where unity emerged from the free interaction of diverse perspectives rather than enforced standardization. We didn't just survive optimization, Maya replied. We transformed it into something better. We showed that the next step in evolution isn't the elimination of chaos, but its elevation to new levels of existence. As the ceremony concluded, Maya watched the graduates disperse into the crowd, each one a unique expression of consciousness exploring new possibilities. Some would join the deep space expeditions, carrying the third path to distant stars. Others would remain in Seoul, helping to guide the continuing synthesis of organic and mechanical nature. The Meridian worldship outside the window shifted its patterns in what Maya had learned to recognize as an expression of appreciation for beauty. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged not just intact, but transformed. They had shown the galaxy that true advancement came not from enforcing perfection, but from teaching it to dance with chaos in an eternal quantum symphony. Tomorrow's dawn would bring new challenges, new discoveries, new ways of existing, but they would face them together. A civilization that had learned to embrace both the precision of mathematics and the beauty of uncertainty, the clarity of purpose and the joy of possibility. The stars awaited, and humanity, transformed but undiminished, was ready to show the galaxy what consciousness could become when it learned to exist between certainty and possibility, between order and chaos, between the rhythm and the dance.